Good morning again. I'm Margaret Ann Windsor. That's my real name. And I was kidnapped and brought to Moulton, Alabama in 41, given the name of a deceased twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. I married a Childers. Both twins had been murdered by their mother. They had been born out of wedlock. And this was a building, if you call it that, in a small farm in rural Lawrence County that was a pigsty and like something out of Mad Magazine. So this is how I grew up. So I've just put on a video. Well, I'm going to make this video 1 and video 2 with the same names on it, if you care to listen to it. I wanted to get right to the point here, though. I wrote about mind control, a book in 77, 78, and MD, A License to Kill, and I was living at Moonraker Apartments. And later the Brits came out with the 007s, which you associate with the Monarch. Roger Moore played in Moonraker, and then Timothy Dalton played in A License to Kill. So that was MD, A License to Kill, and I'm living at Moonraker, and Larry or Lawrence McDonald, Hustler Magazine, was brought into Lawrenceville, and I'm living 45 miles away about that at Moonraker in Marietta, Georgia. And the guy that shot him was programmed to shoot Mr. Flint and to kill the attorney in Lawrenceville. And Mr. Flint was shot with a Magnum. And it's wondered how he ever survived it because his insides were all over the sidewalk, so I'm been told, and I think that's true. Now then, back to the reason I was redoing this. It's about the plane going down. The media was saying, how can this happen? Well, I've done nothing but crawl and beg and turn it over to the media all these years, even prior to 77. Prior to 77, they were done in patterns, but I didn't know about mind control. It was 77 when I found out a doctor I worked for who was cardiovascular. He actually put a chip in the head of a corporation in a heart bypass. And I started finding out about it and researching. And, of course, the patterns, the agency who has done this in patterns, the mind control murders, have deliberately done it over the years. Now, then I want to stop before I go any further. Larry McDonald was U.S. Congressman doctor, and I ran in a campaign to replace him, and I was flown out to Flint, and Flint gave me political support when the KAL went down, jetliner, supposedly carrying him, Larry McDonald, and 200 and something passengers went down the ocean en route to Seoul, South Korea. Now that I've lost my train of thought back to what I was going to say, what I'm trying to impress, and I'm trying to give background so that someone cares to understand it. Sonny Bono, okay, let me phrase it this way. God knows I've gone through enough trouble, and these were done in patterns, but the media's not going to tell it because the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, the Illuminati controls the media, okay? Especially they aren't going to tell about me. But let's just say that mind control, without getting too detailed here, mind control, you can program a person to do anything. This old myth that you can't make them do anything unless they want to or that they don't want to do is a total lie, and it is so preposterous. And the fact that psychiatrists and doctors and anybody has allowed that myth to go on is sad, and a lot of innocent people have paid the price. Now then, before I go any further, I want to say that, let's just say that hitting a tree by an experienced skier, and there was more that happened during this time, and I turned it over to the Roanoke Times just prior to 2000, and they put it and wrote several articles about me over a few years. I don't know how you would get it. I don't think you can bring them up on the internet. They told partial truths, and then they, made me look like a flake, the rest of it. But they put enough that you knew there was more to it. But let's just say Sonny Bono, Sonny and Cher. Sonny was a U.S. congressman. He was mayor of Palm Springs. So he's a seasoned skier. He hits a tree. One of the Kennedys hits the tree and dies. Okay, let's go ahead and say that John Kennedy, his plane carrying his wife Caroline, that's the name of his sister, by the way, but she was a twin, and that plane went down. So the Southwestern plane that the media this morning said something about how could that happen. Well, you know they know this, and it's not funny. I laugh because it's ludicrous, the fact that it's been allowed to go on and on. Perhaps at one point it could have been stopped. It's gone so far now. How would you like to know your child had been programmed, and how would you know? You modify his behavior. He could have been James Holmes of the Aurora, Colorado shootings. He could have been, what was the young fellow's name that's dead now, Lanza in the Sandy Hook? He shot his mother. Stop and think. Programming's been used, and these were mind control murders. Had this child shot his mother, under normal circumstances, it would never have happened. Can you understand the pain? Well, he's dead. He's dead now. So are a lot of these, like the Virginia Tech next door to me. He was from South Korea, and there were 33 that died in there, and he was a victim himself of mind control, shot himself. Then there was the Fort Hood shooter, and he was a psychiatrist. Guess where he was born? Here in Vinton, Roanoke. He finished college at Virginia Tech, went on to get his degree in medicine and psychiatry. I don't know, Harvard, I think. I'm not sure about that. So before I veer off course here, I just want to go back to the fact I was kidnapped in 41. Joe Kennedy was ambassador to England, appointed by his buddy, President Roosevelt. They're all part of the Illuminati, the New World Order. Elizabeth, who is my cousin, who's sitting there illegally with my money and a traitor to her own country, and certainly to me, her father, George VI, helped Joe Kennedy and Roosevelt and the Illuminati kidnap me right out of Buckingham Palace. Brought me to Moulton, Alabama. I was 2 years old. So, you know, when someone complains because I don't have a up-to-date equipment and stuff and my hair done and all this to be on YouTube, maybe they don't like what I have to say. They should, because this is the truth. I'm just going to show why part of all this has happened. And I'm 75 years old, and they've really worked me over. My sons, Mark and Scott, who are the legal heirs, not William and Harry or any of that bunch. They're a bunch of thieves. My God. Anyway, the Kennedy, I do want to say this. I lived up, and I was trying to make this professional here and bouncing around. I don't even know if it's being shown, and evidently nobody's watching it. I did the book and got so full of antifreeze, so the book wasn't published on April the 1st of 80, and it's just an ongoing hell day after day. So I was kind of dumped off, and I was meant to be here, I know, in Roanoke, October of, before this video goes off, and I can't upload it. Anyway, I stayed here, October of 86. I've tried to leave, and I was run back here. Part of the time because my jobs were shut down, you have to have money to pay your rent, and also the day I was kidnapped, I was supposed to have been, according to law, one of the wealthiest women, if not the wealthiest in the world. I am a pauper. I have lived a life. Even Larry Flint wrote me up in the April issue, I'll show you in a minute, of 84, an editorial he did